I will work without a microphone. Does that work? If you stop, I tend to start speaking less loud during a speech. So if I get too low, just give us a signal and I will pick up. You want me to speak with the microphone? Yeah. I hate microphones. No, yeah, but it's only connected to the camera. So you organize as a fresh Toastmaster a club speech conference, speech contest. It's the first thing you do. And you learn about the leadership that's involved in that. And then after that, they ask you to organize an area conference. And then you start making a calculation and you say, oh, there's not enough money. We want to do it for free for the members. So we need a sponsor. Because sponsoring, there's a huge amount of money available. The worldwide sponsoring market is $65 billion, according to Statista.com. I'm not sure if that source is okay, but that's... So why not get some of that money? Well, there's a lot of reason to look for sponsoring. Well, let's have a look. I made a list. You want to pay your cost of your organization? You want to cover your... We had a workshop on risk just next door here, just an hour ago. You want to reduce the cost for your participants? Ideally, if you don't pay anything, so have these conferences for free. You want to supply some necessary services to your members, give them food for free. You want to build the event's brand, so if you have a company like Mercedes-Benz sponsoring your event, then it makes a better impression to your participants. Or perhaps even for bigger events, you want to make a profit. So that's not that easy. And many of you probably have already experienced, but because why would you otherwise be at this workshop? So I will try to help you to give you some feedback from my perspective. I have a company and we do quite a lot of sponsoring on different kind of events, and I see from the part of my company and also as a member that sometimes this doesn't really work, this communication between sponsors and event organizers. So I'm trying to give you some tips on how to approach sponsors effectively. Yes, how to explain why they give you money or support, and to make your partnership with your sponsors more successful. I will work on a few cases today, and I have a question. How many of you have been looking for sponsors? Okay. Are there any sponsors here, people that are actually sponsoring? There's one. Okay. Because I'm going to build a forum, but I'm going to need you then later on. I'll get back to you. So start with my first case. This is my company. The company is called Educarium. And I will tell you how my company sponsors. First, I need to tell you what we do. So we sell educational materials to educational institutions, to kindergartens, to schools, to municipalities who buy it for kindergartens and schools. And we build the nicest playgrounds in Poland. And if we sell that to our customers, then these customers are not children. Our customers are professionals working in institutions. So they are teachers, school managers, they are people working in municipalities, and they are the ones that buy my products. And these people are all professionals. They are professionally engaged in their work, and these people tend to go to conferences. And what we do, we also go to conferences, because it's the way to meet our customers. if I look at the marketing and sales instrument that I have as a company, and say I have a budget, then 70% of my budget is spent on paper catalogs that we send out to customers. That's mainly for these educational materials that we have a big 800-page catalog we send out to 50,000 addresses every year. But something like 14% of our budget goes to conferences, which are mainly teacher conferences, but it's also conferences for landscape architects, for architects, it is for school managers, all these kind of professionals. We participate in trade fairs, we do some advertising, as every normal company does. And we have some websites, web shop, and we do some other social media sponsoring, which, as you notice, social media and other sponsoring is only 2% of our total budget. Sponsoring is in two aspects of these instruments. It is sponsoring of conferences, and there is some community sponsoring at the end, where we do sponsoring. I will get you some more information on that later on. So, if you organize a conference and you want my money, yes. What do you do? Yes, most people send me an email. If you send me an email, what's your chance of response?
1.
Really low.
Yes, 0%, I'd say. An email is normally not read, or if it even is being read, we forget about it very quickly. So what's your chance for a decision?
-1.
0. No, it's not -1. So when you say, no, email doesn't work, I'm going to give you a cold call. You know what a cold call is?
Yes.
Good. They give you a cold call. So what's the chance that you have a reaction, of a response? 100%. No, 100%. Of course we pick up the phone. What is the chance you get a decision? 1%. Nobody's going to take a decision on your first call. If you call to a company and say, I need your money, then you're unlikely to get an immediate positive answer. So I'd say, but some people are so good in making these phone calls that they actually are able to talk money out of my pocket. So that's the 1%. If you are that good, say there's not 100 people in the room, but one of you could be able to do it. So there are the people that give us a call and send us a follow-up email. So these are the people that are prepared. They have 100% of somebody picking up the phone, and because they send up the email, they have something like a 5% chance that they get a response. And there's also a 5% chance that they get a decision. Those are mainly the no decisions. They say, yes.
Are we talking about a positive decision or just a decision?
No, not yet. There may be some yeses in here. And the 1%, that could be a positive one. Yes. So then there are the ones who are persistent. They give us a call, they send us a follow-up email, and they call again. Now, those are the ones that may be more successful. They get a 100% chance that somebody picks up the phone, they send us the email, and then they call again, and a 100% chance that somebody picks the email. Well, then they remind me that they have sent me an email, and I had promised them that I would read that email, which I hadn't done after their first call. So they are already at a 25%. That's of getting a decision. And there's positives here. And then the other ones that keep calling. Well, if they call to my mobile phone, there is a certain moment that I stop picking up. But you are 100% sure that you get a decision. It may be too late. So why does it happen? Why do you get no decision? Why? Because many people, if I speak to Toastmasters, say, well, I'm trying to find sponsors, I have sent emails, and I got no reaction. And so I got no. No, you didn't get a no. You got no decision. A no decision is not a no. So you have been speaking you're mailing with or speaking to the wrong person. You did not make it through the first selection because most cases the email that you send does not end on my email box, on my screen. Or the phone call that you make is not to me or to my wife, who is also taking these decisions. It ends up with the first person who picks up the phone and says, well, I'm not going to pass this on to the president. And then if you get me on the phone or you send me an email, I first have to read it. And in most cases, if you call me or you send me an email, then, well, I tend to read my emails twice a day, in the morning and the evening. And you come in together with a bunch of other emails. Most cases, there are more important emails than your sponsoring call. So I forget about your email. So you need to go back and call again and follow up. If you don't follow up, you're not going to get anything. And then in many cases, even if I gave you a promise that I'm going to do something with that, and I forget about that. Because there's many other things to do during work that distracts me of your event. So I forget again. So we have to be persistent to get my money. So I was intending to do a forum of specialists today because I was expecting this room to be full of other sponsors. You're the only one. What's your name? Josh. Yeah, that's right. I'm Jos and he's Josh. Would you like to be in my forum of specialists? Because what I would like to do, I don't want to talk only from my experience. I'd like to hear experience from other sponsors as well. Okay. Is that something that works?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Thank you, Josh. So, Josh, what was the latest activity that you sponsored?
The sponsorships that I did before. Does it work? Yeah.
Yeah, it
okay.
works.
So the sponsorships that I did before was more about the gaming industry. So I work for G2A.com. So for some of you who likes to watch Twitch live streaming of people playing games, or you watch YouTubers and you find the G2A logo, chances are that's actually from my team. So I was sponsoring over 200 influencers globally, from the biggest influencers to the smallest one in the community. So it was a global operation, a lot of headaches because you operate on different time zones. At the same time, a lot of these people, sometimes I had to educate them on how to deliver to me because I have to deliver to the management people. So yeah, that's my experience about sponsorship.
Okay, thank you very much. But that was a typical commercial sponsoring. You say you were sponsoring to influencers.
Yeah, so we sponsor them because primarily of two things. First is reach, and second is conversion. So in our company, transactions, purchases on our website. So those are the two main things. And because of our experience already in working with everyone around the world, we have a particular way of already forecasting if this person will give me 100 transactions or over 1,000 transactions. We also look at trend because, for example, with sponsorship of influencers, you gotta make sure that they're on a professional level. So that means being consistent in their content creation. That means response time to your requests, because 100% they will always breach one part of the contract that you make with them. So it also comes into mind the attitude of the person or the company that we are sponsoring, how professional they are. So yeah, those are the main factors, the usual things that we talk to them. And yeah, it's quite the experience.
Would you sponsor a Toastmaster speech contest?
Actually, our company has a Toastmaster club, and I'm the sole representative of our company. So yeah, it's not really a sponsorship. We are part of Toastmasters.
Okay, thank you. I will come back to you.
Okay.
Oh. You can go back. So why do sponsors sponsor?
To get return.
Yes, that's one reason. But I'd say there's a lot of reasons why sponsors sponsor.
Some benefits, I think.
Benefits, yes.
There's some kind of public relation and brand marketing.
Yes.
Sometimes they are good.
Sometimes they are good people, yes.
Sometimes they get too much money and they resign.
They need to utilize the money. I'm not sure what utilizing money is. Okay, I see there's a lot of creativity here. I've been thinking about this, and I found 4 main reasons why companies or why people that have companies sponsor. And first is the commercial sponsoring, which is the typical sponsoring influencers is part of commercial sponsoring, that you sponsor because you want to increase your profit. In my company, the 14% that I showed you is almost every part of that is commercial sponsoring, where we sponsor events organized by teachers, by school managers, by landscape architects, or companies that organize conferences for them. And we participate there as sponsors because we want to be in contact with these companies. We want to build our brand. So that's what we do. That's the biggest part of total. This total 65 billion that I showed you on the first slide. But there's more reasons. Companies sponsor events because they want to give something back to the community. And that sounds a bit wide, but a lot of company owners, and I'm a company owner, they are not sponsoring just because they want a commercial return on their investment. A lot of them, they want to support the community where their company is working in. They want to see the city where they live in develop. They want to support local communities. And a part of that is based on brand building, but a part is just because they want to help. And I think if you are looking for money for your Toastmaster event, that is a very important argument to use at your sponsors. I see always this argument that somebody comes to me because they think I want to make money. Well, I do want to make money, but not on a Toastmaster conference. So you need to use different arguments. And I will work that out later on. An important part of sponsoring is also motivational sponsoring. Sponsoring your employees. And because all of you, maybe not all of you, are employees, then you should look at your employer as a potential sponsor. Because at this moment in Poland, you see that employers have a problem in keeping good employees. So in trying to keep your good employees, and you all look like good employees, they are looking for ways to support you. And if you come and say, well, I want to organize this sport event, and we need some money for that, will you help us? There is a good chance that your boss says, yeah, no problem. How much do you need? Or what do you want me to do? Do we need to buy some t-shirts? And that's not because he wants to make a profit on that, because he wants to motivate his employees. If you're an employee, use that context. And there is something that is, I'd call incidental sponsoring, which is based on personal relationships, based on somebody saying, that's a nice initiative. I like that. And very often that is related to the personal hobby of the manager of the company or the owner of the company. So that's also something where you should look at, especially if you organize events like Toastmasters conference, but all kind of local events that probably most of you organize if they organize something. And let me give you a very good example. My wife is on this picture. This is made in Ukraine a few weeks ago. She went and she likes to go for survival trekking in mountains, but also in the woods. And they planned with the group that they're going to go for 8 days trekking in the Ukrainian mountains. And we'd been end of December in Beskide for a few days for a training session. I was there as well, and there was a lot of snow there. And there's also, in the beginning of January, there was all this discussion all over Europe that there's lots of snow in the mountains and it's dangerous because of lawines. So there was a discussion there. They are going to need lawine sensors. My wife, she got an offer for a company that rents out these Lewin sensors, and they were costing something like 300 zlotys for a week to rent them. So, and they had it in their Facebook Messenger group. They have, we all have these Messenger groups. And they got a reaction. They all think it's too expensive. Well, we had a discussion on a Saturday morning where she just got that information, and we said, that's stupid. You're not going to go there without these Lewin sensors. So we can sponsor this. So we got no request. We have no interest at all, except for the personal interest for my wife who wanted to have her Lewin sponsor. But we said we're going to sponsor the whole group, which was a cost of something like 2,500 zlotys. And nobody asked us for that. It is a typical example of sponsoring, which is incidental, makes no sense, and it helps somebody. Now that is the kind of sponsoring you may be looking for. So if you look at these Lewin sensors, you have the commercial value, 0. You have the community value. Well, for these 10 people, it has some value. Motivational value, my wife is motivated enough, so she doesn't need any more. And personal interest, okay, there's a clear personal interest for her. But it is over 2,000 zlotys, and many of you would be happy with a sponsor who would give you 2,000 zloty for your event. And this goes on to other cases as well. SkyTeam is the most famous team in the world, and Sky is putting millions and millions and millions of money of commercial interest into the Sky team, which they have won, I think, 6 out of 10 Tour de France's over the last 10 years. This year, the company Sky, which is a British company, was sold to an American company. First thing that the Americans did, they canceled the sponsor contract. Why did they do this? Because the new managers don't like cycling. So, although they do commercial interest sponsoring, and this is all for building their brand, they stop it because there is also a very strong personal interest from the managers of the company in this cycling. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it. If you look at sailing, at golf, at football, there is a very strong personal connection of the people that decide about the sponsoring with the sponsored event. If that personal interest is not there, they will not sponsor you. So that's where you need to look at once you look for commercial sponsoring. And I'm showing you this example to show you that this personal connection is very important in all kinds of sponsoring. So where to find these sponsors then? I would say if you organize an event, a small event in your town, which could be a Toastmaster event or something else, the first place you should look at is into your personal network. In your personal network, you are very likely to find some people that have companies that are completely non-related to your event. But they are owned by your Uncle Zdzisław. And Uncle Zdzisław, he really likes you. And he likes what you are doing. He sees a young, ambitious lady, a man, and he says, well, I like what you are doing. And you speak him on a birthday party, or if it's somebody from your Toastmasters club, on an after party, and you say, hey, we have this event, and I feel that if I do this, that I am going to bet, I'm going to learn from this, I want to continue on this organizing, I want to develop myself, and a good chance that you get support because he likes you. I think that there's a very strong personal connection between sponsors and sponsored events on these small scale events like Efekt Toastmasters. if you say, I don't have any network, people in my network that have 2,000 zlotys to spend, then you can ask, of course, the other people in your organization. I had some information about here. There's one person who was trying to find sponsors for Efekt, but that is something that you need your whole organization, for the whole organization of your event. Everybody should look in their networks for sponsors for your event. But then you can do your network's network. If you go into your network's network, you don't have that personal relation anymore. So if you ask your uncle Zdzisław, he says, well, okay, you don't want to sponsor me, but perhaps you know some companies that would like to. Well, there, if you do this, you need to focus on a different purpose. You should move from your personal interest to the community interest. Speaking about why this event is important for the community. And it is, well, if you organize a cycling marathon in your town, for an example, it is always nice if you find somebody in your network who is a cycling fanatic, because it's much easier to convince him that that is an interesting event. But if he has a building company, or he's a hairdresser, or whatever, it doesn't really matter. Important is that he has money, not what he does or where he makes his money with. Important is that he likes your purpose of your event. So you should speak not about his commercial interest or his potential profit. Speak about what is important for the community, for the people that you're organizing your event for. And that's something that should work. Well, and after that, if that doesn't work, and I think that you have a good chance that these first things should give you sponsors, then you can go into commercial sponsoring. Then you have to look at your target group, let's see, and the topic of what you're organizing. So then you speak about, okay, influencers as an example, but then you can also look, okay, if you call to a company like me, then you need to do something for architects, for municipalities, and bring me contacts with the people that attend your conference, or do something related to playgrounds. And then I might be interested. I give you an example. Lena Wachowiak is not here? No, she is doing, I think later today she's doing a workshop. Lena organized a conference in Bidgosh last week, and I know her from Toastmasters for a long time, and a very nice conference for target group women. And she called me a few weeks ago, and she asked me, Jos, would you like to sponsor this event? I said, I'm not really sure, it's not my target group. She used this connection. What she did very good, she called me on a Saturday, and not on a weekday. If you call me for a non-commercial reason, then don't call me during work. That's the old range of reason why I forget about you, because I'm focused on my work during my work, and only if you have this personal relation, call out of work. Don't use this time outside of work. But she called me, and we discussed half an hour about all kind of ways how she could find sponsors. Well, we ended up that I said, I'm going to ask my wife. She has a lot of contacts with companies that are interested in women. She has a hairdresser and, all these things to do with your body if you're a woman. Yes. So, and I asked my wife if she knew some companies, and I'm not sure if anything came out of that. But what happened then? I did not sponsor this. And then on the Saturday, week ago, when she had this organized, I was driving my bike in the woods somewhere, and I said, oh shit, I could have sponsored this event, because I'm developing a new product for women in playgrounds. And I said, that would have been a great moment to share this idea with my target group. I forgot about it. So what Lena did very good, she used the personal network. She asked if I knew other companies to sponsor.
She could call you in your work hours, not in your free time. So.
Yes, maybe. But what Lena forgot, she did not follow up. She did not call again. If she had called again, then I'd have thought that I probably would have made a deal with her about sponsoring. And that is, but she had a very good conference anyway. So how to approach sponsors? Well, there's then the very different approach between network sponsors and commercial sponsors. Network sponsors don't talk about the commercial interest. It doesn't even interest your potential partner what money is going to make. Speak about community value and speak about, if it is a direct contact, speak about what you are going to get out of this organizing this event. What you are going to learn, what your career perspective is going to be, or whatever you feel that is your personal interest. And speak about the community value. And what I told you about what Lena did, call outside of work time. So speak on a party, on an after party, go visit somebody, ask him out for a beer, and then discuss this. So take the proper time for this. Yes. If you speak to commercial sponsors, then also speak first about your target group, about what you want to achieve with your sponsoring. Speak about what value you are going to bring to your with your event to the local community, because that is most probably what is going to convince the sponsor to give you support or money. What is important? Speak to a decision maker. So if you speak to Pani Basia, who picks up the phone, she will give you a very friendly answer where she will promise you that she will bring it on to the decision maker. And then she's going to say, yeah, there was this guy who called today and he wanted some sponsoring. Okay, well, let him, if he calls back, they will give him an answer. And you don't call back, so there's no answer. You need, if you speak to the decision maker, explain what you want to achieve, you need to have a decision, an email prepared. And this email, because you're speaking to the guy, he's going to forget about you in 10 minutes, you need to send that email within 5 minutes. You say, you're going to get an email in 5 minutes, and then explain in there what you want to, exactly you want from the sponsor, with all the benefits, with everything that is in it. I'll give you more details later on. And again, if you get no answer on your call, on your email, that's not a no. A no is only if he says no. That's a no. All other cases, there's no decision. And no decision is a potential yes. It's the same in sales. So in your follow-up email that you send out, you need to prepare a compelling story. So whatever you told them in the phone call, you have to put it into your email. And then all the typical things that you would like the sponsor to know. So the theme of your event, who is going to be there, what kind of people are going to be there. So if you have a Toastmaster conference, I'm going to have 300 people who are going to think 2 days only about sex. Yes. And then, of course, you need to explain why this sponsorship might make a good fit. And what is important is your media partner. So how you are going to market this and who is going to be your partner in this. And, of course, there should be then what you expect in return and what you are offering. If you make a deal with a commercial sponsor, put it on writing, because if you speak to decision makers, they may come back to you, did I speak to you? So better to have an email, a short email. In most cases, you will not need a contract. Some sponsors will ask you for a contract, to sign a contract. So what to agree upon? Well, I had this Toastmasters conference case And Kuba is here. Yes. Kuba, he was one of the organizers. And Kuba, he called me, or we spoke on an after party, and said, well, I'm looking for sponsors. You want a sponsor? Yeah, no problem. What do you need? Oh, we want you to pay the rental of the room that where we're having the sponsor. I said, okay. I'm not sure we agreed on an amount, but that's something. If it's 300, 500 zloty, you just let me know. I need an invoice, and it's going to be agreed upon. And later on, something happened. I still don't know what happened, but something changed. And Kamil, is Kamil here? No, Kamil is not here. He's at the conference as well. He called me and he said, well, we made another decision about this room, and now we are having all clubs paying for as all clubs in the area paying a part of this room rental. I said, well, why? I already said that I was going to pay this. No, but we want you to give some of your products. Aha. What products do you want? Yeah, you have to decide. I have no time to decide on my products. So if you want my products, you go on my web shop, you find out what you need, and you come up with a proposal. And I already didn't like how he brought this to me. I said, you come up with me. Well, he didn't come up with a proposal. But I said, I'm prepared to sponsor you. I never got the proposal. So I ended up with not sponsoring. Although I think you did put my email on somewhere on one of the things, yeah. Or my logo on some of the, yeah. So sometimes these things are not agreed upon well. And this is an example. And Kuba, he did a great job in finding other sponsors for that. He just went, and that's another way I didn't tell you about it, but he just went through the main shopping road in Bitcoin, and he went shop to shop to shop, and he asked them if they wanted to support him. And he got a lot of positive result on that. So that's also something that I can do. That's community sponsoring. So what do you ask for? Money. If you ask for money, then your sponsor wants an invoice. And why does he want an invoice? Some people don't understand it. I'll show you this. Does this work? Yeah. The left one is what if he gives you cash with an invoice. And if he gives you 100 zloty, then his cost with an invoice is 100 zloty. If he gives you cash, and this money has to come out of his company into his pocket. And before it comes into his pocket, first there's VAT to be taken off, then there is company income tax to be taken off, and then there is dividend of the net profit, or the gross profit that is going to be taken off. And that accounts to 87% additional cost for your sponsor. And, sponsors, I told you all the time, they will help you and they will give you money, but they hate tax office. Time's up. So, to sum this up, if you're selecting your sponsors, use your network approach. So go for your personal interest, go for your community value, and only in the last part go for the commercial interest of your sponsor. If you get no answer, that's not a no, that's no decision. You need to be professional also in your activities towards your sponsor. And that mainly means that you should not embarrass him in any way if you're sponsoring, because that's something that sponsors are not going to accept. And if you have a good success, then report it back to your sponsors. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes.